me? All right, perfect. So we have just started our new unit on multiplication, and we have been learning different ways to show multiplication equations through models, okay? So let's do a little bit of review, and then we'll get into today's lesson. So the first strategy we learned on how to model a multiplication equation is through repeated addition. You guys remember doing that a couple of days ago? Okay, good. So we have been using the multiplication equation 3 times 4 equals 12. So our first number is how many groups we are going to have. So I have 3 circles. And then our second number is how many we are going to be adding by, okay? So we have the number 4 written 3 times. So we can do 4 plus 4 equals 8, plus another 4 equals 12. All right, good. So another strategy that we have been learning about is called equal groups. And this kind of reminds me of how our repeated addition looks. The only difference is instead of writing the numbers, we drew dots. Remember that? Okay, good. So here, again, we're using 3 times 4. We have our 3 groups, and then inside each group, we made 4 dots. 4 here, 4 here, and 4 here. And now, we can just add up our dots to get our answer. Okay, so we've got 4 plus 4 equals 8, plus another 4 equals 12. Good. All right, thanks for the participation. I enjoy it. Okay, our last one that we've done most recently, we've spent 2 days on it, is how to represent multiplication equations with number lines, okay? Same multiplication equation, 3 times 4. Here, we're going to make 3 hops or jumps, and for each hop we're going to skip count by 4s. So here we've got 4 for one hop, plus another 4 for our second hop, that's 8, good, plus another 4, and that gets us 12, good, and that is our product. All right, I'm seeing a trend here if we're skip counting by 4s, right? All right. So we have one more strategy on how to represent multiplication equations with models, and that is going to be with arrays. And before we even get started, who thinks they know what an array is? Yes. Kind of. Does anybody want to add to what Johnny said? Yes? Yeah, it's kind of like a picture, and we're going to be using any kind of object to do a multiplication equation in a model, okay? So sit tight right there, and let's go ahead and get into our learning objective, and we are going to see how we can use Johnny's strategy in representing multiplication equations. So let's look at our learning objective. Everybody go ahead and say this with me, please. Given 2 multiplication equations, I will create arrays with 100% accuracy. Now, who can tell me why I circled the words create arrays? Yes, Sam. Yes, that is going to be our verb of the day. We are creating, and that's how we're going to prove that we have mastered our objective, okay? So sit tight right there. I'm gonna throw on a brain pop video, and then we will continue on. All right, boys and girls, go ahead and high five your neighbor if you enjoyed that brain pop video. Good, all right. So again, we are learning different ways to solve multiplication equations through modeling, okay? So here we're gonna focus on arrays today. Now arrays are fun because you get to draw. So here's my definition, but I'm going to need your help to fill in the blanks here. So it says arrays are models that put things into blank and blank. Who can remember how we sort arrays? What are the 2 vocabulary words that you guys heard on the brain pop video? Susie, can you name one? Yes, rows, good. And what's the second one? Columns, good. Now I've heard the word columns before. Do you guys remember learning about ancient Greece in social studies class? All right, good. Well, I have pulled up a picture of the Parthenon. You guys see these giant pillars that reach from the bottom to the top? These are called columns, and that is how we are going to use columns today with arrays. Columns go up and down, from the top to the bottom, okay? So, here's my array. I have shamrocks because we know that St. Patrick's Day is coming up. Here, we're going to label with rows and columns, okay? Rows, just like the video said, are going to go from left to right, okay? These lay flat. They're side by side. So right here is one row. I'm going to label it R1 for row 1. Now I have another row right here, and I'm going to go ahead and label that R2 for row 2. And then I'm going to circle the 2. I'm done with rows, okay? The 2 is how many rows I have total. Now I'm going to go ahead and label the columns. And remember, just like the Parthenon picture, we are going to go ahead and label the columns that go up and down. So right here, up and down, I have one column, so I'm going to label that C1 for column 1. I have another column here, I'm going to label that C2. And everybody tell me, what am I going to label this next one? C3 for column 3. And I'm going to go ahead and circle the 3 because that's it. I'm done with columns. I only have 3. Now, I'm going to take the circles, or the numbers that I have circled, and that is going to be my multiplication sentence. So how many rows do I have? 2. How many columns do I have? Times 3. And guess what? That's our multiplication equation. So go ahead and turn to your neighbor and tell them how many shamrocks I have on this board. Okay, now tell me. 6. Good. I have 6 shamrocks. So just a quick reminder, our columns are going to go up and down, just like these circles here. And here's an arrow. Our rows are going to go left to right, or side to side. All right? So, now we're going to talk about what happens if I don't have a picture given to me. I can draw one. So here I have 2 examples, and I'm going to show you how we can label and draw our own arrays, okay? So our first number, we've got 3 times 5 here. Our first number is going to be how many rows we're going to draw. So I'm going to go ahead and put an R over that, and I need 3 rows. Now for me, it's easiest when I label first. So I'm going to take my strategy of labeling over here, and I'm going to write R1, R2, and R3. My next number, this 5, is how many circles I'm going to draw in each row. So I need 5 circles in row 1. Everybody count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need 5 in row 2. Count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I try to keep these as straight as possible and organized as possible because it's going to help me when I'm labeling my columns. And I'm going to do that next. I need to make sure I have 5 columns. So I'm going to go ahead and label this first one C1, C2, C3, C4, and C5. Now, do I have 3 rows? Yes. Do I have 5 columns? Yes. So now I can go ahead and find my product, okay? We can either count all the dots or we can count by 5s. Let's go ahead and count by 5. Skip count. Ready? 5, 10, 15. So guess what? 3 times 5 equals 15. Let me show you another one. Remember, the first number is going to be our rows. So here, I need 4 rows. So I'm going to do R1, R2, R3, and R4. The second number is how many circles I'm going to draw in each row. Now you guys, when it's your turn, you guys don't have to draw circles. You guys can draw shamrocks or squares or hearts or diamonds, whatever. It doesn't matter what you want to do as long as we keep these organized and neat. Okay, so I need 3 circles in each row. Do I have my 3? Good. Now I'm going to label my columns. Right here I have column 1 goes up and down. column 2 goes up and down, and column 3. Now I'm going to check my array. Do I have 4 rows? The next one's going to be our columns. Do I have 3 columns? Yes. All right, now we can see how many circles I have. Everybody go ahead and turn to your neighbor and tell them how many circles do I have. Tell me. 12. Good. All right. Good job, guys. We are going to continue this back at your seats. When you get there, go ahead and get out your expo markers and your erasers, all right? Ready, set, break. All right, boys and girls, thank you for getting out your expo markers and erasers. For this activity, we are going to be using cereal. So I'm going to go ahead and pass everybody a bag of cereal, but don't open it until I tell you what we're going to be doing with it, okay? All right. All right, thumbs up if you guys all have a bag of cereal. Good. All right, so we are going to be creating arrays with cereal. On the board, we were using shamrocks and I drew circles. Here we're going to be using our cereal pieces, okay? So go ahead and take just a little bit out. On the projection screen, I have written 2 times 6 equals blank. Go ahead and write that with your expo markers on your desk. Okay? Now remember, our first number, this 2, is going to be how many rows we need to make. Okay? So everybody take your expo markers and let's go ahead and label our 2 rows. So we need an R1 and an R2. Thumbs up when you have that written down on your desk. Okay? Good. Now, our second number, the 6, is how many columns we need. This is going to be how many cereal pieces we need in each row. So go ahead, take your cereal, and go ahead and make sure that you have 6 cereal pieces in row 1, and you need 6 cereal pieces in row 2. Okay? And remember, you can always look at the screen. I have mine ready for you guys to look at if you need a reference there. I'm going to go around while you guys are working and see how you guys are doing. Good. Good job. Yep, here, this first number is going to be our rows, and this number is going to be our columns. So that's how many cereal pieces we need in each row. Yep, perfect. Okay. All right, looks like you all got this correct. You guys are doing amazing with this. So, how many cereal pieces do you guys have in your array? Go ahead and shout it out. 3, 2, 1. 12. Good. So go ahead. Let's finish out our multiplication equation. We've got 2 times 6 equals 12. Good. Now, we are going to keep reusing the cereal. So go ahead and put your cereal back in your little stack. And you can erase your desks. I'm going to give you guys one on the board. And then I want you guys to try it at your seat. Okay? So let's go ahead and try 5 times 4 equals blank. So go ahead, write this down on your desk, and go ahead and start working on your array with your cereal. Ready, set, go. Good job. Perfect. Awesome. Oh my goodness, you guys have done so well. I'm gonna call you guys up here. Everybody has gotten this correct, so I'm gonna call on some students to come up here and label my rows, my columns, and to create those rows and columns, okay? So, Savannah, why don't you come up here and draw in the 5 rows. Thank you, Savannah. All right, Jason, why don't you come up here and go ahead and put the cereal into those rows. So we need 4 cereal pieces in each row. Go ahead and do that for me. All right, everybody make sure and check his work. Make sure he's doing it right and he's not missing any. Good, Jason. Amazing job. Okay, so everybody, turn to your elbow partner and tell them what your product was for 5 times 4. Okay, now tell me. Perfect, we've got 20, yes. Amazing job. All right, go ahead and clear your cereal and go ahead and erase your work. In the middle of each table group, there is an index card. And on that index card, there is a multiplication equation. Everybody is going to make the multiplication equation that's on that index card. And the first table group to win will get a table point, okay? So when I say go ahead and flip that. Everybody needs to create their own on their desk, but we are all using the same equation. All right? Ready, set, flip it. I'm gonna come around and check. All right, table 2, you were first to complete it. You guys will get a table point. Awesome job, guys. Okay, now it seems like you guys are ready to go off on your own. So let me tell you what you are going to be doing for your independent practice. Everybody is going to be given a sheet of paper, cardstock, okay? What you guys are going to do is write one equation on this paper, and you are going to draw the array, okay? So I have our 3 options here. We've got 7 times 5, 9 times 8, and 4 times 3. You guys can choose any one of these 3 multiplication equations to create your array, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and put this under the smartboard so you guys can see it. And then I'm gonna go ahead and pass these out. Okay, everybody have one? Give me a thumbs up if you got it. Okay, good. So what you guys are gonna be doing is after you draw your array, don't label it, okay? What you are gonna do is you are going to get your iPad and you are going to get on the Seesaw app. And when you get into the Seesaw app, you will see this assignment as arrays. What you will do is you will take a picture of your paper, and then using the text tool app, or using the text tool, you guys are going to be labeling your array with the text tool, okay? When you are finished, you will create one more text piece to write your finished product, okay? So I need the 2 factors and your product, the answer. And then you will submit it, and then we will close out our lesson. I'm gonna be around just in case anybody has a question or needs help with any of the Seesaw buttons or anything, okay? All right, so you guys may go ahead and get started. Remember, you are using one of these 3 equations. Ready, set, go. All right, boys and girls, thanks for coming back down to the carpet. So, just a review, we have learned different ways on how to solve multiplication equations through models. We've learned about repeated addition, equal groups, number lines, and today we learned about arrays. Arrays, remember, are models that put things into rows and columns. So real quick, I want to see if we can fill out the rest of our anchor chart here. So again, we have our multiplication equation 3 times 4. So remember, our first number is going to be our rows. So I need 3 rows. And our second number is going to be our columns. Good. So I need 4 circles in each row, okay? So everybody count, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's go ahead and double check our columns. We've got column 1, column 2, column 3, and column 4. Do we have 3 rows? Do we have 4 columns? Yes? Okay, so remember, what we multiply by, those are our factors, and any answer to a multiplication equation is going to be our product. Good. All right, here's our learning objective. I want to go over it and make sure that we have achieved this goal. All right, so say it with me again. Given 2 multiplication equations, I will create arrays with 100% accuracy. All right, when you guys go back to your seats on your desk, we have an exit ticket, okay? And so before you guys can line up for lunch, I want you guys to fill this out real fast. There's 2 equations. I want you guys to draw your array, label them, and then write the product of each one in this line, all right? You guys head back to your seats, fill this out, and then get in line for lunch. All right, ready, set, break.